everyone, it is Bridget here from Bridget's Kitchen, wishing you a very happy Sunday if you are joining me today. It is Sunday here in Sydney, Sunday just gone lunchtime as well, just gone 12 o'clock, so I thought I would do a quick little cooking class with you guys because I've spent almost the entire weekend so far testing recipes. Now the reason I've been testing recipes is I am giving away with the copy of my new cookbook. So if you order my new cookbook, you will get sent to your email address a copy of Bridget's Healthy Breads and Pastries ebook, which has 30, actually there's 31, because I've added another recipe because it excited me so much. There's 31 gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free recipes in there to do with breads and pastries, and I'm working feverishly to get that delivered to you guys ASAP, because would you believe this book, a little birdie told me that this book is due to land in Sydney within potentially a week. So if you haven't already ordered your copy of More from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, I am creating the free ebook for you guys, and what we have decided that until we start delivering these books, anyone who orders a copy of this book, and all you got to do is go to morefrombridget.com to order your copy of this book. Whoever orders a copy of their book before the books are delivered, so it's during the pre-sale, the pre-purchase, you will get a copy of my Healthy Breads and Pastries book, and I thought I'd do a recipe from that ebook today just to show you guys what we have in store. And there's 31 recipes in that ebook, and they are all absolutely fabulous, and I can't wait to finish writing it and get it sent out to you. And I also can't wait for you to get your hands on this little copy as well. So what we're doing today is we're doing, now would you believe, now I'm sure you've all heard of soda bread. Soda bread is an Irish style bread, yeast free. It uses baking soda as its rising agent to give it a little bit of lift. And it's a very traditional bread, and it's, you know, if you think about Irish food, people tend to think of potatoes, maybe you think of shepherd's pie, something along those lines. Well, soda bread is also very, very famous Irish style bread. And I thought we'd do a soda bread today, a gluten-free one. Of course, it's also sugar-free. It is dairy-free, and it is, of course, yeast-free. And we'll do a soda bread today, but we're going to enrich that soda bread with some fabulous seaweed, because as we all know, seaweed is so good for our metabolism. It helps to keep our thyroid regulating, which helps to keep our metabolism going, which helps with weight loss significantly. So this bread is not only gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, I have also put seaweed into it, meaning that it's going to be high in iodine, which is really good for our metabolism. So it's one of those really cool breads that you can make literally with a bowl and a spoon, pop it in the oven, and it's done real simple. And it is packed full of really wonderful, wonderful ingredients that are really great for our health. So for everyone who's joining me today, thank you. I know we've got a few people coming to us from WA. I've seen this morning as well. And hi to Doris. Hope you're having a wonderful day as well. So we're going to get into our little recipe now. And as I was saying, I'm super excited because it's part of the book. It's part of the new ebook that I'm putting together that you will get a copy of if you buy a copy of More from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. And that ebook I'm hoping to have finished for you guys within the next couple of days. Oh yes, injury. I've been doing all this testing with only kind of 1, 2, 3, kind of 4 fingers at work on my right hand. So it's been a bit of a testing sort of a couple of days, but you know what? What doesn't hurt us makes us, well, this kind of hurt definitely makes us stronger. And I've learned to use my left hand a lot, which is really good too, because it's nice to be able to use both hands in the kitchen, most definitely. So for the recipe today, as I was saying, it is gluten-free. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring it down to the bench. I want you guys to see what's going on down here. So what we are using today, because normally this recipe for soda bread, for an Irish soda bread, will be made with flour, so with wheat flour, but of course wheat flour has gluten, so we are taking the gluten out of there, and we're taking the wheat flour out, and instead I'm actually going to be adding in oats. So oats, and there is a bit of controversy, 300 grams of oats go into my bowl. There is a wee bit of controversy when it comes with oats, and whether oats are gluten-free or not. So gluten, if anyone's unsure what gluten is, it is a protein. And different types of grains, you will find varying levels of this particular protein, gluten. And the gluten that you find in oats is different, which is a different protein to the one that you find in wheat, and the same with the rye and barley as well. And for some people, for most people, the gluten traces in here are so minimal that you don't even have an effect on whether you are someone who can't tolerate or doesn't want to have gluten. So for the majority of people in the world, they will not get any gluten reactions. Like for me, I can't eat wheat gluten, but I can actually eat oats, and it doesn't have the same effect of the bloating and the cramping that it does on my body when I have oats. But for people who are celiac, so that's for people who have it's a type of disease where for them even trace elements of gluten that they'll find in oats can actually negatively impact their health. So for celiacs, you might want to go out and look for gluten-free oats, which you can find. They're also marketed as wheat-free oats in Australia. But if you really want to be careful and you're saying, look, no, even if it's just trace elements in my gluten, I'm going to go and look for gluten-free oats. If you can't find gluten-free oats and you still want to go completely 100% gluten-free, you can then, instead of having oats, you can add quinoa flakes into here. So quinoa is a seed, it is not a grain, and quinoa will also make sure that you get a really high quality protein bread out of this as well. So that's the story when it comes to oats. You can use normal oats, you can use gluten-free oats, because remember there's only just trace elements of gluten in the oats. But if you are celiac, I would suggest you either go for the gluten-free oats or you go with quinoa flakes. So there you go. So 300 grams of oats go in there. There is not much to this recipe, by the way. Not much at all. I did say there was seaweed, so that's definitely one of the things that we're going to be adding into it. And the type of seaweed that I'm using today is actually, not sure how easy it is to take off rubber bands when you haven't got all your fingers. There we go. I'm going to be using wakame, and this is seaweed pieces, so dried seaweed pieces, and you see they're quite small, yeah? So you can't really use nori sheets here. They won't stand up to the bread baking process. So I'm using dried pieces of nori, quite crunchy. You can hear me eating it, nice and crunchy, lovely little salt hit. I'm going to be adding, quite a decent sized handful of these seaweed pieces here, straight into my food processor. Pick up the ones on the bench. And we're just going to give them just a little bit of a process, because I just want to make them just a little bit smaller. Because even though you look at that and you go, well, that's pretty small, Bridge, that's not too bad. When that rehydrates in liquid or water, it'll go to about that size. And so you'll have huge pieces of seaweed in your bread if you were just to add it straight. So I definitely suggest you pop it into the food processor. Give it a bit of a grind, just until those pieces are a little bit smaller. I might even add a little bit more, because I do quite like the taste of the seaweed going through this bread. It's pretty nice. So sort of a decent sized handful of the seaweed in there. And then, oh, by the way, guys, if you live in Australia, you see this little machine here? I bought this at Aldi. It cost me $39.95. It is currently on special. Went on special yesterday at Aldi for $19.95. It is at Aldi. I bought one to send home to New Zealand today for my mother-in-law, and I'm about to go and buy another one because I think I need a spare for 20 bucks. And it comes with the whisk, it comes with, the metal bar blender. It obviously comes with this, and it comes with a jug. It is fabulous. 20 bucks. I use this every day. And no, I don't work for Aldi. It is just awesome. All right, so smaller pieces of our little seaweed go in there, and we're going to add in the recipe, I'm saying add in 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons of our seaweed made smaller is going into our bowl, just like that. Give it a bit of a stir. Give it a little bit of a stir. And that's kind of like the majority of the ingredients in this bread. I mean, how cool is that, right? It's that easy to make. I love it. Okay, so that goes in like that. And then I'm going to take up the soda portion of it. And for the soda, I'm using bicarb soda or baking soda, as it's known. Now, traditionally, this bread was actually made with ash from the fire. And I am going back centuries here. It was made with ash from the fire. That was what they used before baking soda came along. And baking soda that's 1 teaspoon I've got in there. I'm now adding 2 teaspoons, but I'm making sure those are level teaspoons because you don't want it to be too baking soda-y flavored. And just break if you've got any lumps. So 2 teaspoons of baking soda go in there. But baking soda, yeah, it is instead of yeast. So this is a yeast-free little concoction, which is wonderful for people who don't eat yeast. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar is going to go in there, and that is just going to see the bubbles. I'm just dissolving the baking soda. This is what's going to activate it once it goes into our bread mixture there, our oats. So that is just going to sit there for a second. Whoa, can you see? Yes, you can. I'm also going to add in over here, I forgot it, some salt. Now I have got about a teaspoon of Himalayan salt goes in there just to give it a little bit of flavor, of course. And the next thing I'm going to do is look at my wet ingredients. So this is my dry ingredients here. Give it a bit of a stir. My wet ingredients involves now my dissolved baking soda. But as well as that, I have in this bowl some coconut yogurt. So this is how we make this a dairy-free option here. So I'm using unsweetened coconut yogurt. The other thing that soda bread has in it, and what it used to have traditionally, is soured milk or buttermilk. So you can now get that sourness from our yogurt and also from that little bit of apple cider vinegar that we've got in there. So let's just combine the 2 of those. Pop those in. Make sure you give it a bit of a scrape because you want all that baking soda. I'm also going to crack into there, just 1 egg is going to go into my bowl as well. And then just give it a little bit of a mix. You don't even need a whisk for this. You're just combining the egg and making sure the baking soda is really well mixed through. Because you want to get that taste of that baking soda right throughout the entire bread. And that's why we make sure to dissolve it so we've got no lumps, because there's nothing worse than biting down onto a lump of baking soda. It's really unpleasant. Really unpleasant. So that goes like that. So that's our wet liquid. I'm just going to add one more thing, and this is optional, guys. You don't have to add this, but what I'm going to add in here into this little container I have now, I know it's backwards, but this is spirulina powder. Now spirulina powder is an algae, and it is a really good quality nutritional addition to your food. So it's a bit of a superfood. In New Zealand, we used to have spirulina all the time in smoothies and stuff. Really popular. And it kind of looks like this. See that? It's kind of greeny, bluey coloured. And spirulina, as I was saying, it is a superfood. It comes straight out of the ocean, completely natural, so fully packed with nutrients, and it's literally just going to supercharge this bread. It is also going to make this bread green. So don't freak out. And like I said, if you don't have spirulina powder, you don't have to add it. If you do have spirulina powder, about a teaspoon of spirulina powder goes into there. And you just mix it through the yogurt. And look at that, you've got this kind of green coloured yogurt mixture, which is a little bit crazy, but it'll all make sense in the end, because remember, we're making seaweed bread. And so if it is a little bit green, that's fine. All right, that's looking good now, happy with that. Let's now move over to our bowl, and I'm just going to scrape the yogurt in there. And if, depending, I've also added onto this recipe, just in case you need to, depends, because some yogurts are thicker than others. This is quite a thin yogurt. So if you find at this stage that you're doing this, and it feels really thick, like it's hard to stir, what you can add is a couple tablespoons of water. You could even add kombu water if it's in your fridge, because that's just my seaweed water there. You could add that to it most definitely. Or you could just add plain water. Just to, what you want is this type of consistency. If it's too thick, you're going to get a real stodgy sort of a bread, which you don't want. So you kind of want to make sure that you're able to quite easily, even with a plastic spatula, give that a bit of a stir. And just make sure it's stirred through. You don't have to use a machine. You're just literally using a plastic spatula, and you get it mixed through just like that. So that is the base to our bread. How cool is that? That's so easy, right? So easy. All we need to do now is taking up a loaf tin. I've got a loaf tin here, just lined with a little bit of non-stick baking paper, and then just unceremoniously you pop that mixture into your loaf tin. Now I've got my oven preset at 180 degrees, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And once this is all done, and you've added it all into your loaf tin, it smells really good, by the way. It smells fabulous. It doesn't smell, if you're thinking, oh, I don't like things from the ocean, please give this a try, because it does not smell like the ocean at all. In fact, the overriding smell that I've got right now is the coconut yogurt, and then I've just got this little hint of spirulina in there, which is quite pleasant. And then, of course, the seaweed is just after it. So it's not really oceany. That's what I want to say. And it's one of those things that I really recommend you try if you're a little bit concerned about eating seaweed, you know, especially if you're someone who doesn't normally eat things from the ocean, like fish and stuff and shellfish. Give it a try, because remember, not only is it quite a delicate flavor, the seaweed, but the other thing about having it in this form is just the amount of iodine that we're now going to be putting into our diets through a bit of bread that we're eating. So I've just smoothed down the top, just with the back of a spoon. I'm going to do one last addition, and this, as I was saying, is completely up to you. And you may not even be able to find this, because I can't even remember where I got this from. In this little packet here, I actually have Irish seaweed. It is a blend of dried Irish seaweeds, because seaweeds are getting really, really popular, would you believe? So, oh, the smell is wonderful. Only because I've got such a small amount, I'm just going to use it just to sprinkle on the top. And I'll show you guys, it is different coloured seaweeds, whereas our wakame is quite dark. On the top here, I've actually got lots of really cool colours like that. And that is just, that's Irish seaweed, and how fitting that that Irish seaweed is going to top our Irish seaweed soda bread. How great is that? Okay, so that now goes into the oven. Remember, set at 180 degrees. I always put the tin in the middle of the oven, so you've got air circulating all around it. And that is probably going to take around about 70 to 90 minutes to cook. But keep an eye on it. It will go quite green on you with the spirulina, believe it or not. But keep an eye on it. You'll notice it's starting to cook, because the sides will actually begin to pull away from the paper. It'll actually begin to pull away from the paper a little bit, and it'll go quite a lovely dark colour on top. And when you put a skewer into it, into the middle, that skewer should come out clean, and that's when you know your bread's ready. But it's between 17 and 90 minutes it'll take in your oven cooking your seaweed bread. But of course, here's one I prepared earlier. Let me go and grab it. Let me go grab it, will you? Ta-da! All right. I told you it would come out green. Did you believe me? You do now, right? There you go. That's from the spirulina. If you don't add spirulina, you'll get more of a brown loaf coming out. But that is it. That is your seaweed bread. Now, the best way, once it comes out of the oven, is to allow it to cool just for a couple minutes in your tin, and then turn it out onto a wire rack and let it cool completely. When it is cold, it's the best time to slice it. And what I like to do is actually to slice it all, and then wrap it in cling film and keep it in the fridge. And you can have that in your fridge for 5 to 6 days. And anytime you need a bit of bread, take it out. You can pop it in the toaster if you want. You know, put your favorite topping on it, and there is the most gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous seaweed soda bread for you, packed full of iodine, packed full of oats, which are going to help you keep you fuller longer, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free as well, and part of my ebook, Bridget's Healthy Breads and Pastries, which I am finishing working on this weekend, so I can get it delivered to every single person who has pre-ordered a copy of More from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. So you can still order the book, and you will get the free ebook that I'm working on, the 31 recipes of Bridget's Healthy Breads and Pastries. All you need to do is go to morefrombridget.com and order your book. And as I was saying, this little birdie told me, and it is very likely that the books will land in Sydney within 7 to 10 days, which means you're going to be getting a copy of your new cookbook sent out to you really, really soon. Plus, of course, you're going to get the ebook. How fantastic is that? So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me today. Get into the soda bread. Try it. It is so cool. What a great way to have have seaweed in your diet, right? And a piece of bread. Get into that, give it a try. Keep an eye out for more recipes being shared this week coming up in Bridget's kitchen. Plus, of course, that fabulous ebook, Bridget's Healthy Breads and Pastries, will be coming at you real soon as well. All right, nice to see everyone. Take care, and we'll see you in the next couple of days right here in my kitchen. All right.